What does Mike Tyson have in common with NBA player Antoine Walker and baseball great Curt Schilling? What do they all have in common? They're all pro athletes, fantastic athletes, and are broke after retirement. In fact, 50% of NBA players are broke within 5 years of retiring. That struck the former center for the Golden State Warriors, Miami Heat, and Orlando Magic, Adonal Foyle, deciding something needed to be done. So he wrote a book to help players and help you keep the money in the bank, especially if you strike it rich quick. The author of Winning the Money Game, Adonal Foyle, joins us right now. Adonal, great to see you. You were playing the league until 2010. You get an injury, you're out. Yeah. You've done well. How have you not fallen into that trap first?
I think more than anything else, you have to be vigilant. I mean, part of the difficulty is a lot of players comes from amazing, difficult background, and then they want to help as many people as they can in the way up. And that's not always, there's a way to do that, but sometimes they do it in the wrong way.
I mean, let's think about some of these athletes that you bring up, and we see, for example, Antoine Walker. He had 70 people on his payroll, right? Buying houses, and he was a fantastic player for the Celtics and a fantastic player coming out of college.
And think about where that's come from. That comes from a very positive place. You want to help people that you grew up with, that knows you, that probably help you along the way. And there's a question not so much of why they do it, because there is a good place. It comes from a good place, but the question becomes, how do you do it effectively and do it where it could be sustainable over the course of your career and their lives? And
then what happens is you want to be a professional athlete. That takes a lot of training. So you go, hey, buddy, you watch my money. And the bottom line is money breeds greed. And a lot of times people say, he gave me check writing authority. I'm going to write a few checks. Tim Duncan last week, 4 years at Wake Forest, as cerebral as it comes, says, I lost $20 million to a corrupt financial advisor.
And I think what is amazing about what Tim did, he wouldn't let him get away with it. He put him out in blast a little bit. And I think so many of us hide away from the stigma of being, silly, of being stupid, of, being caught up in that game, that we want to not tell. We don't want anybody to know. And I think what he did was saying, look, I'm going to expose you so that nobody else get caught up in this issue. I think Tim should be commended.
Right, he is, but he'd probably love to lose.
You like to get that money back.
Here's some of the tips that Adonal says. Adonal can help you if you're not a pro player, but even if you're thinking about what am I going to do long term with my money, audit everybody. What do you mean?
Well, I think that anybody who has dealings with your money, as a matter of good practice, you should audit them. I say audit your mother, because if your mother loves you, she'll understand where it's coming from a good place. So audit anybody who's around you. Take a note of what they're doing, and so that you don't get into this kind of trouble.
Look, a lot of times people aren't good with money. You're good with the basketball, you're great with the history, but you're not great with money. But you still stay day to day in touch with your money, with your finances. You mean call your financial advisor?
It's call your financial advisor, writing your own check, really paying attention to the money that is going out and what you're spending it for. Sometimes when you see that check and you write a check for $20,000, it's much more powerful when you do it yourself.
Contain your wants, not just going out to dinner. Don't go buy your Bentley, don't go buy your mansion because you've been denied your whole life.
Everybody wants a beautiful car, and there's nothing wrong with that. Buying 15 or 16 might be a problem.
Right, absolutely. I never would have thought that till I read your book. Making saying no your first impulse. So when people say, I got this great idea, I'd like you to invest in this certain power.
I always say, if you say no first, you can always come back and say yes. I mean, your mom might take it aback a little bit when you say no, or you say no to your friends. But I think when you say no, you give yourself the space to think about what you want to do for them.
And also some crazy things. Scottie Pippen, one of the great all-time greats to ever play the game, lost $120 million. Mike Tyson lost over $200 million. So you have Charles Barkley, who gambled tens of millions of dollars away.
I mean, gambling is a big part of it, but players make a lot of mistakes. And I think what I've noticed is that the mistakes start repeating themselves. So if you can get them to be aware of those things very early, then hopefully they can change the cycle. And I think talking and starting a conversation about financial literacy is so important, because players come from such various backgrounds, and having that opportunity to really start this conversation is really what I wanted to do.
And Adonal, also you credit your adopted parents, right?
Yeah, my parents, had me in an allowance, and if I didn't balance my checkbook at the end of the month, they deduct whatever I was off. So I was over there trying to figure out, okay, how do I find that $10? Oh, I need to find that penny. I think it's a good practice to always be involved in financial decisions.
Right, but can I just say, you did outdress me, and you do have a nicer watch. That really bothers me.
It's my Fitbit. I'm walking out.
And your Golden State Warriors won the
yes.
The NBA championship. Great to see you.
I'm sorry about the Knicks.
But the thing is,
I love you.